vlog. Is that how YouTubers start vlogs now? You just kind of hit the record button, go and sit down, and then stand up and then cut that part out? Yeah, what's up? So, I'm going to cover a lot in this vlog. There is so much I want to talk about with my Spider-Man PS4 Advanced Suit minifigure that I've been working on since the beginning of the year. The new Avengers Endgame TV spot, Ben Affleck out as Batman, all the things. And this file is going to be so big on my computer, but it's going to be great. How's it going? I don't even remember the last time I vlogged. I think it was for like Spider-Verse last December or something. But anyway, been having a little bit of a problem in terms of working on figures efficiently this year because, man, life has just been pulling my attention in so many different directions, and I just haven't really been sitting down working on figures nearly as much as I would like, and so unfortunately, I have not made as much progress on the advanced suit as I would have preferred by this point. As a matter of fact, I would have preferred to have had the figure done a week ago, but unfortunately that's not the case. Thankfully though, because I've been going so slow and really taking my time on it, it's been turning out pretty much exactly as I've been hoping. I don't have a free hand to make this focus, by the way, so I'm just going to awkwardly like hold it there, or maybe here so it's less awkward, or maybe like here. Yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, so this figure, there's a reason I only paint Spider-Man figures maybe once a year, once every, maybe once or twice a year, if that. I didn't paint one in 2017, really. I don't really count the homemade suit. So, point is, webbing takes forever to paint. And in this case, I've been doing several things differently in terms of how I've been painting the webbing, especially on the head, changing up the design and actually painting the whole head in a base color of red, which is something I've really not done for a standard Spider-Man figure. I painted the base of the Iron Spider from Infinity War. That suit I painted in metallic red, but metallic red goes better with black paint, whereas standard red paint like this doesn't necessarily cooperate with black paint as easily, so it's very slow. It's a very slow, very intricate, tedious process that I really can't describe, and I'm going to go into it more in the actual showcase video. So it might be like the Arthur Morgan showcase again, where I just kind of really take a lot of time to break it down and explain it, or I'm considering making a separate making of video. I don't know, but this figure is turning out exactly as I'd hoped. I finally got the arms done with the web shooters painted on the wrists, and so I think the left arm took like 7 hours, and then I think the right took more like 4 or 5 to complete. So very time-consuming stuff. The symbol on the torso didn't turn out exactly as I was hoping it would, but I'm still overall so proud of how this is turning out, especially the highlights that I got going here using a almost like light denim color, which you can kind of see on the sides of the torso and the arms a bit. But you can actually see all of this a lot better over on Patreon first. As always, progress photos go up there on the regular before anywhere else, and then, of course, over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where I post these photos, these guys here, and I am really happy with this photo and how it turned out, the big reveal photo that I put up for you guys. And so far, I think everybody seems to be enjoying the figure, even though it is quite far from completion. I still have so much to do. I still have to paint the hands. I still have to paint the entirety of the legs. I still have to do the entirety of the back. Well, not the entirety, but pretty much almost the entire back. I have to finish the webbing on the back of the head. And even once the figure itself is done, and I am, probably another 20 to 25 hours into the figure, I am going to try my hand at this. Fiber optic cables used to make the webbing. This is an idea from Yale 97 Lego Maniac, and basically the idea is you take clear Lego bar pieces, so you guys know Lego bar pieces, so like, I don't know, like, like bars, Lego bar pieces, those, and then take those in clear, cut off bits and pieces of them so that a Lego minifigure can hold the webbing, and then you take those clear bits of Lego bar pieces, and then you just glue various pieces of these fiber optic cables to that, and then you lather the whole thing in, like once you're done with your web, you lather the whole thing in hot glue. And I've never worked with hot glue before. My mom has. I haven't. So it should be great. I'm going to try my hand at it. I'm not really sure how it's going to go. If it doesn't go, then it won't be in the showcase. But to those of you watching, and those of you guys on Patreon, you'll know that I tried. So yeah, Spider-Man PS4 Advanced Suit and Arthur Morgan, two figures that I've desperately wanted to make since October. And because I've continued to, of course, really appreciate Red Dead 2 and Spider-Man PS4 now, even long after I got the PS4 and played through the games for the first time in October, November. But yeah, man, even though it's been taking so much longer to make these figures than I would have liked, it's been worth it for me because it matters a lot to me personally. But anyway, things. How far are we into this video? I don't even want to know. I told you it was going to be a long one. Anyway, Avengers Endgame Super Bowl was yesterday, and you know what that means? We got the new Avengers Endgame TV spot, and wow, there's not a lot in it, but also a lot in it. Alright, so we're getting started here. My mic is no longer facing toward me, so I hope you'll bear with me here, but I love the intro sequence, obviously, with all of the snapped Avengers, the ones who did not survive the snap, and all the red is highlighted, which is pretty interesting. Everything else is grayscale. Everything except for Captain America's shield. Like all the red on Cap's shield is the only red in this entire sequence that isn't highlighted, and so maybe that's foreshadowing, maybe that's nothing, but yeah. Then if we continue on, though, obviously there's the dusted Marvel Studios logo, but I love this. I absolutely love the post-decimation... Okay, there it goes. It's gone. I absolutely love the post-decimation New York. You know, the MCU after the snap. And I love that they chose to do it at a time of day, you know, where it's like rainy and where there's fog, and then coupled with that, the lack of lights. You know, there's like no light coming from New York anymore. Everything is shut down. Everything is off. And you just have this empty, dark feeling. Everything's just so devoid of life. This is that dystopian MCU that I've just personally always wanted to see. Even in Age of Ultron, I kind of wanted to see this. Like, I wanted to see it even in Infinity War. Like these major villains kind of doing a lot of damage to Earth, you know, maybe, like, I remember early, you know, before even Age of Ultron came out, I was kind of hoping, like, Ultron would occupy continents and, you know, or just, like, countries and just really wreak havoc for a long period of time, and instead of it being Day of Ultron, it actually would have been Age of Ultron. And, I mean, obviously it didn't go that way. They didn't want to bring the stakes that high quite yet, but they definitely are for Endgame, and I love that. It's so exciting. We only see more of that here as we continue on with the Statue of Liberty here, that entire area, the boats piled up, the cars everywhere. That's so cool. And then obviously the football stadium here with even more cars piled up. I'm kind of curious how the cars all got piled up. Is anybody else kind of thinking about that? Like, obviously when half the universe gets erased, I mean, everything hit the fan, society was basically upended, but at the same time, how do the cars all get like that? Am I the only one who's... I mean, it makes you wonder, how long is this time jump? I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. I love the details like this. This just makes it feel so much more real when you see little posters like this. And it looks like there's Steve is part of a little meeting here, which really, again, grounds this whole situation in reality, how people are coping with suddenly half of all life in the entire universe being erased. This is a great shot of Steve. I mean, just the anger that's still welling up within him. Love that. And then if we could keep going, though, this shot here with Tony tinkering, well, not really tinkering, he's deliberately trying to clearly, you know, build something or do something to the Guardian's ship to get back to Earth, or get somewhere where they can find more fuel to get back to Earth. Or wherever they're trying to go. Obviously, Tony's going to want to go back to Earth, but who knows where the plot will wind up taking them, the plot of the whole movie. But point is, this is great. If Tony Stark does in fact die in Avengers Endgame, I am so looking forward to getting to see him work, just like he did in Iron Man 1, one last time. Not at all being done off screen and him showing up with Iron Legions the next movie, but actually getting to see him work on something like this. And what's so crazy to me is just when you take a step back and you really realize how far we have come, that we are looking at a shot of Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, on board the now erased Guardians of the Galaxy ship next to Nebula. I mean, that is crazy. It is just crazy. I don't know, I just had to take a moment to really step back and look at that, because this is a shot that none of us ever even thought possible back in like 2012 when the Avengers first assembled, when this was all really getting started. And this is, I don't know, it's just so cool to me. I love how the camera moves in this shot too. This shot here, somebody clearly edited out right there. I think it's pretty obvious. There's just a giant gaping you know, there's just a giant gap there where there should be someone. So I'm guessing Marvel edited somebody out there. Who knows who? I mean, it could be Tony, it could be someone, or more likely, I mean, honestly, could be anyone. Who knows? But obviously they're at Avengers HQ at night, which is pretty cool. I'm so excited to finally see more of Avengers HQ. I feel like we just have not seen enough of it since Age of Ultron. But they might be looking up at Tony and Nebula finally making their way back to Earth. Who the hell knows, man? But then this shot of Rocket, a lot of speculation coming out of this one because Rocket is apparently and pretty clearly wearing a costume very much, very similar to his classic Guardians of the Galaxy costume from the comics. So that's pretty exciting. And will I be making that costume in Lego? Yeah, man, probably. I mean, if it's not, if we get enough reference, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to that. And it looks, and some people speculate that he could be in Norway, where Thor is starting to slowly set up New Asgard. Because a lot of you guys, I mean, you have to remember that 500, like, there's at least still a few hundred to a few thousand Asgardians still alive that Thor has to lead, which I thought was kind of left out of Infinity War. You know, when Thor says he doesn't have anything else left to lose, I mean, there are a lot of people still counting on him for leadership, which, so I'm hoping that they'll remedy that in Endgame, but yeah, then we got Natasha here letting out some stress, target practice, love the sky in the background. She's obviously in Avengers HQ, new hairstyle and all, probably after the time jump. And then here, this shot, of course, with the new War Machine armor and Ant-Man. This is so cool seeing them together again finally after Civil War. And this new War Machine suit, man, is a lot less bulky than I was expecting. Some people are kind of speculating that it might be a suit where pieces are added onto it, like as he kind of move, like it's similar to, I don't know, but that it could actually bulk up like during combat or something, or maybe, I honestly have no idea, but some people think that like pieces are maybe added onto the suit somehow. I would hope not, because honestly I think this is bulky enough, and this is definitely the coolest War Machine suit we've ever had. I don't know, maybe I take that back, because it doesn't look like the digital camo is on there anymore, which I think is kind of unfortunate. I don't know. Anyway, Ant-Man, of course, here confirming once again that his suit will be exactly the same, which means that this figure will be exactly the same from my Ant-Man and the Wasp showcase, and so he'll just be a stand-in for the Endgame video. But if we keep going here, of course, we got Thor, and something I said on Instagram too is just how crazy is it when you really take a step back and think about this shot and the look on his face and how well Chris Hemsworth is portraying the emotion here of someone who experienced a very reasonable moment of anger, made the wrong call in the moment, and then is basically now responsible for having not prevented that maniac from wiping out trillions of people across the entire universe. And that's something I feel like wasn't emphasized enough in Infinity War, just the gravity of the situation, really showing you people being erased and societies collapsing as people are dusted all across the entire universe. All living beings, all life was affected. And that a lot of that falls on Thor because he didn't go for the head. Imagine being that person. I can't imagine. Like, it's really an unfathomable feeling that you just can't even comprehend. And it looks like Thor's still got his head on his shoulders at least a little bit, man. He's still suiting up, so at least there's that. Who knows what point this is in the movie, though, but maybe this also looks like the same area where Rocket is. So, I mean, maybe this is Norway, maybe this is where he's setting up New Asgard. Who the hell knows, man? But if we keep going here, we got Hawkeye back, which is really exciting. Very difficult to tell what this shot is about. Some people are speculating that he's looking at the Reality Stone just because of the red lighting. Some people are speculating, and spoilers if true, but this is all speculation. I have no idea. But fair warning, that it could be Ultron in some form, which would be nuts. Then he's got the quiver, though, and his bow, seemingly, so it doesn't appear that he's in his Ronin costume here, which is pretty surprising. Maybe he puts on the classic... I think he probably ditches the Ronin costume, probably after the second act, who knows, but he probably ditches the Ronin costume early on in the movie, if I were to guess, and then reverts back to the standard Hawkeye suit. Not the standard one, but, a Hawkeye suit again, that we see in the promo art, that we already saw in the promo art. But then this final shot here of what looks to be Steve. Not a lot of people, but some people speculate that this could even be Bucky picking up the shield after the finale of Endgame. I mean, I don't know. This shot could be from literally anything. And that could be that, but if I were to, I'm sure that that's probably Steve. And if it is, man, it could be foreshadowing his death. It could be foreshadowing nothing. But what I do know is Chris Evans is leaving the MCU and has made that very clear these last few years, and he has stayed on for the whole ride, and I appreciate that so much, but it's going to be so hard to finally watch Steve Rogers' story come to an end, man. But then the final shot of them inside Avengers HQ, and there's something that just feels so empty and eerie about even Avengers HQ. Despite them being in it, there's just something still so lonely about the entire facility itself, you know. But it's so crazy how casually Rocket Raccoon is among the Avengers now. But I love that. Of course, we got Steve there. And what I would imagine is going to be his final suit, or possibly the stealth suit, Thor behind him, followed by Black Widow with her shorter hair still. So this might be before the time jump. Honestly, who knows? But then obviously you got Ant-Man here, War Machine. It's pretty exciting stuff, man. Or at least I think that's Scott. I don't know. I'm not going to analyze that shot too much, but of course the main tagline of the whole promo is, that most people have moved on, but not us, not them, and that's so cool. But yeah, Avengers Endgame, first TV spot shown for the Super Bowl, and obviously doesn't reveal too much, but it reveals just enough to keep the conversation going. Marvel Studios and Disney already have the audience. They already know the money is guaranteed. Everybody wants to know what happens after the decimation, including general audiences, so they don't have to show much. But what does this mean? What has changed now that this trailer has come out? For me, and for the Avengers Endgame showcase, not much. I know that Hawkeye will seemingly revert back to his normal Hawkeye suit, so maybe I shouldn't make the Ronin costume, but then again, maybe I should, to add some variety, because I think it actually would be cool to make. I take that back. I'm going to do the Ronin suit. I'm probably not going to change my mind on that, even if he does ditch it after the first or second act. But then, obviously, the Quantum Realm suits aren't seen here. Nothing is really seen beyond the first act. I would say that Hawkeye shot is probably the only, I'm sure there are a few shots in here, one or two at least, that are after the first act, but mostly, obviously, it's all from the first, and that's okay. That's okay, man. Even if the Avengers Endgame showcase looks very different than the Infinity War showcase, even if it isn't the biggest, most bombastic showcase due to a lack of reference, all the figures will still get made this year, and it's all still going to happen, beginning with Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel coming out March 8th, and she is the next figure that I am going to get started on, and she is the figure that I will open with to begin working toward Avengers Endgame. And I don't know if she'll have a new suit in Avengers Endgame. I mean, it will have been like, what, 20? Yeah, about 20, almost 30 years since she would have disappeared, roughly, very roughly. It's more like 20, 25. I don't know. I forget what year exactly Captain Marvel takes place in the 90s. But point is, gonna be making her suit, gonna have the helmet with the mohawk, the whole deal, painted face. It's gonna be great. Cannot wait to paint that figure. And she will probably be the first figure that you see in the development videos, the making of videos for Avengers Endgame, just like Infinity War. Look at these dog snacks that have been back here the whole video. Those aren't from me, I promise. But yeah, it should be great. I'm so looking forward to it, man. And one thing that happened recently is I actually got I got my hands on Lego's Avengers Endgame Captain America from the upcoming sets, and the sets should be dropping, I think, April 1st, but I'm going to keep my eye out for any item numbers as soon as they come out so I can start tracking those down. But some people in the factories have been stealing those figures and been throwing them up on eBay. I don't think them in particular, but they've been selling them to people who have been throwing them up on eBay or whatever. And I did pick one up just so I could get a closer look at it in hand. Not going to show it here. Not going to show it on the channel. Not going to show it really anywhere. I only posted a few things about it on my Instagram story to kind of, for like a mostly informative type thing, so people could really get a good look at that new Captain America helmet, because I was definitely so curious. It also gives me an extra one to work with for my minifigures. Whether that be, I'm not sure if I'm going to use it, because there are definitely some problems with Lego's Avengers Endgame Captain America helmet that I'm going to try to remedy. But we'll see. If I can't, I'm probably going to stick to the regular flash cowls, but we'll see. we will see. It's definitely the best Captain America Lego's ever made, that's for sure. But anyway, what else? So Star Wars Celebration Orlando, of course I said that. Star Wars Celebration Chicago is happening very soon, in actually like 2 months, 10 days roughly, and I will be there all 5 days. And I'm very excited for it. It's going to be crazy getting there. It's going to be a crazy event, nonstop running, just like Star Wars Celebration Orlando, which was completely insane, I should mention. Or Celebration Orlando was a dream. I mean, that 40th anniversary panel, seeing George Lucas and John Williams, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and Hayden Christensen and everybody up on stage, Dave Filoni there. Just something of dreams, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I don't even know that Celebration Chicago will be able to replicate, but I will be there, and will be attempting the same level of madness as in 2017, and it should be amazing. Hopefully I'm going to document it this time. I did not do a video for Celebration Orlando because I was just so exhausted, and I remember as soon as I got back, I had to get started on, I had to get back to work anyway on the Guardians of the Galaxy from Volume 2 at the time. But yeah, Celebration Chicago. It's coming up, and I will be there. Should be nuts. Hopefully I'll see you there. Just got the plane tickets yesterday. So, yeah. But anyway, what else? Things. Captain Marvel, the plan is, and I've said this before, I will be making her to basically go up on, they have the showcase of just her go up on March 6th. So if you guys remember, I've explained this several times, but when I was working on the Infinity War figures, Black Panther came out in February, and so basically I made Black Panther earlier on, and then I showcased him in February, and then I just kept working on Infinity War, and that's exactly what I'm doing for Captain Marvel, but for Endgame now, to give you an idea. So all of you guys, some of you guys might be wondering, all right, so what about the other figures that I have planned? What about other showcases? The Clone Wars 10th anniversary minifigures. I still have Darth Maul, Pre-Vizsla, and Cad Bane on that list. I still have so many MCU 10th anniversary minifigures that I want to make, celebrating the 10th anniversary of the MCU. So here's the roadmap. And it's not updated, so Mira and Ocean Master are not on here, and I just tapped my screen. Gosh damn it! But ignore these like rough dates. I gotta update this. But point is, the figures that I'm still planning to make for the MCU 10th anniversary still gonna happen. Still want to make all those. Aquaman minifigures all still gonna happen. Clone Wars 10th anniversary figures all still gonna happen. As a matter of fact, I actually have like the jetpack. And also the helmet right here for Pre-Vizsla. So, still going to happen, just all throughout the year, basically. I'm going to be making those figures mostly after Endgame. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. But I absolutely loved Aquaman and will make figures for that movie. Regardless of when or how I do all of it, it is still going to happen. And I'm sorry that it's taken so long, but unfortunately, very complex minifigures take a while. So, yeah. But anyway, what else? Other things that have been going on. The 20th anniversary Lego Star Wars sets finally got revealed, and they were super underwhelming. A couple of them are really good. I did a whole video about it. But there was a lot of untapped potential with that line. But I appreciate what Lego tried to do. I just hope that they'll do better in the future. And anyway, what else? All right, sets that I didn't review that I kind of want to bring up, and I don't want to let this kind of go without ever mentioning it again. But man, I really wanted to review the Spider Crawler. Never got around to it. This set has such a cool feature with how when you roll it, the freaking legs move. I freaking love that. That is so cool. I wish I ever got to review that set, and I absolutely planned on reviewing it. I even shot part of the review, but I never got around to finishing it, so that kind of sucks. But anyway, some other stuff that I did. I reviewed Phoenix Customs' incredible Batman from The Dark Knight Rises that he sent out to me to review, and I seriously mean it when I say that's the best Batman minifigure ever made, even though it costs a lot of money because of how much it actually costs to get a minifigure like that made. And I did a whole video about that on the channel. And I actually got back on a bit of a Dark Knight Trilogy kick, and I busted out my collector sets of the Dark Knight Trilogy and just had it on in the background while I worked on Spider-Man. Made this quick, half-assed Heath Ledger Joker that I used for the video in one of the skits, because I actually don't know what happened to my Joker from the Tumblr, the UCS Tumblr. I think it's actually in storage, probably actually within the UCS Tumblr itself. But yeah, and then I got Obi-Wan Mace Windu down here on the desk on the studio too, because I actually recolored that figure, that entire figure. I recolored Obi-Wan's robes with Mace Windu's head on it, and I actually painted up like a custom like head of him like missing an eye and all kind of scarred up. But you can see all of that over on my Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all those places, because I actually did like a kind of a really cool photo sort of celebrating all the effort by Star Wars Theory in making the first episode of Vader Shards of the Past, which was really cool, and one of the best Star Wars fan films that's ever been produced. And so kind of to congratulate him and you know, kind of sort of celebrate what will hopefully be an incredible episode 2, where in his fan film, Mace Windu returns, and they battle it out one last time on Naboo in the rain. I just made a quick little edit, and again, that's over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and all of those places. But to give you a quick look at it, it looks like that. So yeah. But anyway, photos, all those digital photos that I make, all those digital edits that I make that I never really talk about too much on the vlogs are all a thing. But anyway, now that I've said but anyway, you know, 5 times, we can finally talk about Ben Affleck leaving the DCEU. And this is something that I really never wanted to discuss. And to those of you guys who aren't interested in hearing my thoughts, this is the part where you click off. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. This vlog is going on forever, but I told you it would. So anyway, let's get started straight out the gate with an unpopular opinion. I absolutely adore Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. They are 2 of my favorite films, and I really don't care what anyone says, respectfully, but to get this news that Ben Affleck is finally officially dropping out really upsets the hell out of me. There's so many reasons. But first of all, I just want to preface that I totally agree and understand that it was definitely right for Ben Affleck to step away. This is not something that he can maintain with everything that's going on in his life. It's completely understandable, and he needs to. There's no explanation that he needs to provide. But an explanation definitely, I think, needs to be provided by Warner Brothers and the people at Lucasfilm, but then again, maybe not. I mean, you can pretty much tell what happened. Zack Snyder got started with a great idea many years ago, probably just after doing Man of Steel. I forget exactly when he finalized the idea with Warner Brothers to move forward with Batman vs. Superman, but to get started with a new DC cinematic universe, much like Marvel, but then to have Batman be inspired by Dark Knight Returns, and to cast an older Batman at the end of his career after everything interesting about Batman's entire story has already happened and your actor is already aged out, to then proceed on into a cinematic universe with that version of Batman? In hindsight, you wonder how we got that far, and how nobody at Warner Brothers was like, hey man, if we're supposed to keep going here, if we want to spin off from Batman vs. Superman, a cinematic universe with Batman films, of a Justice League films, we should probably not do a Batman inspired by The Dark Knight Returns. And it hurts me to say that because, like I said, I adore Batman vs. Superman and everything that Zack Snyder did with the film, despite its problems, despite Zack really trying to run home the point that Batman was at the end of his rope and he was just done with criminals by murdering them. I agree, that went too far. I understand. Jesse Eisenberg never should have been Lex Luthor. I understand, but I still really appreciate the film. Man of Steel, I won't even go into. I don't want to start providing movie reviews for everything in the DCEU, but the point is, man, I don't know how they come back from this. And I feel baited. I really do, because I fully believed in everything that Zack Snyder was trying to do. When the announcement came in 2013 and we saw the Bat logo behind the new Superman logo, I screamed right along with the people in Hall H. when details started to emerge about the first photo shoot with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck suited up, just salivating, just thinking about it. The two most iconic superheroes of all time finally sharing the big screen together. And I was so excited. Everyone was, building up to Batman vs. Superman. It was a long road, especially when they delayed it 10 months. When we finally got that first teaser, and then especially the San Diego Comic-Con trailer just floored us, blew us all away. I went out to... we made an event out of it. I went out to Kansas City with my family, actually, and a couple friends. And Joe, one of the Brick Reviews, was one of them. Of course, he lives there, and we went out to see him. And Nick from Heroic Bricks was there with us. And we didn't go. We made it. You know, the trip was just to see Joe and you know, to see for us to meet up and have a good time. But the point is, we used Batman vs. Superman as an excuse because that's how excited we were, and for the most part, it lived up to expectations. Not fully, not completely, but in most ways. But to get to this point now, all these years later, after Suicide Squad was a mess with really great characters intertwined into a shit show, to get from that to then Wonder Woman, which, while simple, was a phenomenal film, and then finally to Justice League, which was just such an insult to everything Zack Snyder was trying to do. That movie apparently having been 70% reshot by Joss Whedon. I mean, the guy just made a wreck of what was already a mess because of Zack having to step away. And those larger-than-life, you know, that sense of the story feeling like a larger-than-life narrative when you finally see Bruce Wayne, see Diana Prince for the first time, and the most iconic superheroes of all time are finally starting to share the screen together and are finally meeting each other, and the music builds from Hans Zimmer, and every sequence are just placed in this emotional sense of like I said, I really don't know how else to describe it other than the DCU just kind of providing you this larger than life feeling of everything that is about to happen. The Justice League is forming. You know, the forces of apocalypse are coming, and you get to the end of the movie, and while yes, Jesse Eisenberg and then the entire scene was a little wonky, but ding ding dong, the god is dead. The bell cannot be unrung. They're coming. You know, that and Hans Zimmer's score just accompanying scenes like those were just unbelievable for me, and I was just so on board with everything. And then we got Wonder Woman finally. I already talked about Wonder Woman, but then we got Aquaman finally. And Aquaman was unbelievable. I mean, a visual masterpiece, and truly proved that the DCU can be something so special and can be so profitable because, of course, it made over $1 billion, which no one expected. Aquaman was incredible. But to get to the end of all of this now, since 2013, I mean, it's been so many years, and to have Ben Affleck finally step away, it's disappointing. And I'm sure everybody's already commented down below who have been generous enough and kind enough to stick around that he still has 2 movies in his multi-picture deal. And sure, but that doesn't mean he has to fulfill them. Hugo Weaving has another movie or 2 in his multi-picture deal with Marvel, but they didn't force him to come back and give a terrible performance out of fear for being sued. You know, so Ben Affleck is not coming back. And even if this younger Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a younger version of the brutal Batman that we came to know in Ben Affleck's Batman, even if it is the same Batman in the DCU just earlier on in the 90s or the 2000s, the earlier 2000s, when those major storylines, those major things were happening in his career as Batman, I don't see where you go after that. I don't see where Matt Reeves' younger Batman goes after that, because if it is Ben Affleck's Batman, a younger version, then it's not like that younger version can just walk up to the rest of the Justice League if they ever assemble again for another Justice League movie and pretend like everything is fine. That is the equivalent of a new Iron Man showing up for the Avengers out of nowhere after Robert Downey Jr. was already perfect in the first Iron Man movie and in Iron Man 2, say what you will about it. It doesn't work. It won't work. I was hoping that they would at least have done Flashpoint to make something as drastic as this work, but they haven't, and they won't. And they've already said as much. And Henry Cavill may even now step out as Superman. I mean, anything is, it's all up in the air. So we're going to get Wonder Woman, we're going to get Aquaman, we're going to get Shazam, we're going to get more DC movies set in the DCEU. But to what end? Your A-list main character and possibly characters, if Henry Cavill steps out next, are gone. Where do you go with this? If you ask me, the DCEU has collapsed, and it really crushes me. Because in whatever DC chooses to do next after they squeeze out all the success of Wonder Woman and Aquaman in a few years, 5 to however long it takes to fully take advantage of all the success of those two versions of the characters that we now had in the DCEU, it's not like we can just have them back when Warner Brothers, if they ever do get it right, and they choose not to rush into their next cinematic universe, and they do set things up, and they do the solo films first. We can't have Jason Momoa back. We can't have Gal Gadot back. We already have the perfect versions of these characters in a now broken cinematic universe. And to me, like I said, I really feel like it's over. And it hurts, man, because I'll always be able to hang on to Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman, but to me, I'm out. Ben Affleck is out, and I'm out. And that's coming again from somebody who fully believed that what they were doing was going to work and that they were truly going to deliver something special. And it hurts, man, And I realize this is very dramatic, I understand. But, I was just so inspired by it all. And for it to just come crashing down as the star of the show, rightfully so, steps out, it just sucks. All of this sucks. This has been a terrible situation. And I just hope that Warner Brothers will have better foresight moving forward. Because this is pretty much, and I'm not terribly happy with the current state of Star Wars either. And so this has basically proven that Marvel Studios are currently the only ones capable of sustaining longevity in a cinematic universe. And I think that's a shame. So, yeah, that's it for this vlog, guys. Looking at it, I should probably add facial hair to my sig fig, shouldn't I? This guy's kind of clean shaven, isn't he? Thank you so much for sticking around for the whole thing. This is something that of course I could have split up into 2 videos, but I just kind of wanted to nail 2 birds with 1 stone. And you guys over here that watch these videos are the ones that are the most supportive. And so this whole video is for you. And that's why I decided to keep it long. Because I figure some of you may appreciate it, which means the world. So thank you so much again for sticking around for the whole thing. The next video on the channel will be probably something Endgame related, but yeah, gonna get back to work on Spider-Man PS4 and getting started on Captain Marvel pretty soon to get started on moving toward Endgame. So I hope I'll catch you guys there, or over on social media on the other pages, or Patreon, any of those places, where I'll be posting all of it before it makes its way to the channel, and certainly before it makes its way to MGF Extra, where of course I vlog once every 2 months. So I'll see you next time, guys. All right, take care. Bye-bye.